Hi everybody, I'm Gio, and welcome to my channel. This story is called Love and Sandwiches. The first Saturday in June, about lunchtime, I climbed off the bus, taking a whiff of the car exhaust in the summer heat. Beau and I agreed to meet by the old-time classic eatery, Jones' Sandwich Shack. Jones is a landmark. It's been around for nearly 40 years. It has been remodeled a time or three and has gone through several owners, but everybody has been there. I'm Wade Gifford, 6'0", with very blonde hair and very brown eyes. I tan easily, and right now I am both nervous and excited. You see, I'm in love. His name is Beau La Salle, and though we've been dating, I've never told him how much I loved him. I've been careful not to use the L word because I'm afraid it might split us up. His family does not display affection. Today, if I have the courage, I'd tell him how I felt. I inhaled slowly and checked the time on my phone. Beau should be here any minute. Gotcha, a voice said behind me, and his hands tweaked my waist. I'm very ticklish there. I jumped. Beau, I yelled. You looked too serious. I had to, Beau said. Beau was also 6 feet, but he had brown hair that went to his shoulders and a mouth that always seemed to smile. His father was Egyptian, and Beau had inherited his olive skin and golden brown eyes. I leaned over and gave him a light kiss on his cheek, momentarily forgetting his family didn't like expressing emotions. Beau placed a hand on the spot I had kissed. Was he blushing? I took his hand and led the way into Jones' Sandwich Shack. Jones is more than sandwiches. It has homemade fries, homemade chips, homemade cookies, homemade bread. It had a special machine that ground fresh ingredients into ice cream and could make any flavor as long as it had the mix-in. My favorite, white chocolate raspberry strawberry cheesecake with caramel bits. Jones was too far away from the campus for the college guys to come often, and too far from the touristy sections, which made it perfect for those of us who made Vegas home. It was our own private secret. Jones had a red sloped roof with Jones in blinking red, white, and yellow giant letters on the top. Inside, it was white walls and red Formica tables, and it didn't matter whether it was breakfast or dinner, Monday or Sunday. It was always crowded. They say one can tell if the food is any good at a restaurant by looking at the size of the line. Jones must have the best food in the Western Hemisphere. We ordered a meatloaf and cheddar sub for me, and an Italian meat sub with Swiss cheese for Beau, plus a large fry we'd split. A few minutes later, they called our names and we picked up our food. Rather than stay, we took our sandwiches and our fries for a walk in the early summer heat. How would I tell Beau that I loved him without ruining what we have? Maybe it doesn't need to be said. Except I needed to hear it. It's more a confirmation of what we have between us than it is a declaration of love. Well, it's that too. You're quiet, Beau said. I want to ask you something, but I don't know how you'll respond, I said. No, I won't come over and help your lazy butt do your dishes. Rule number 1 in my family, you made the mess, you clean it up, Beau said. It's nothing like that, I said. I won't do your windows either, Beau said, eating a fry. Does everything have to be about cleaning with you? Yes, it does. Mom's old school like that. I can't wait to move out. Is that what you wanted to ask me? Do you want to share a place? Between my job and yours, I think we can pull it off, as long as we find a cheap apartment, Beau asked. It would be nice, but it isn't what I wanted to ask, I said. Then what? We kept walking, and I took a bite. Now was the moment. Beau, I love you, And I love being with you, and I would love moving in with you, I said. Beau's face didn't register any emotion. That's a good sign, right? I need to know if you love me too, I said. Where's this coming from? Beau asked, his voice deepening a little. He avoided looking at me. We kept walking for a moment longer before I spoke. I want to know if we have something serious, I said. Are we serious or a weekend fling? Beau said. Something like that, I said. Do we have something between us? Beau gestured to a bench and we sat down. When he looked at me, there was something serious about how he held his mouth, or how his eyebrows lowered. I took another bite, suddenly afraid of the answer. Wade, I like you, but for me it's only a couple of friends having fun, Beau said. I don't not love you. I like being with you. I like hanging out with you. We're good friends, and you sure can kiss, and I like you. But I wouldn't call it love. Not in the let's move in with each other for the rest of our lives kind of way. Does that make sense? All my emotions tangled up around my heart and my lungs and became a physical pain. It was a moment before I could speak. It makes sense. For a fun and cheap thrill, call Wade, I said. Something bitter overflowed in my eyes, and I wiped the wetness from my cheek. Wade, I didn't mean it like that. If you didn't want to know the truth, then you shouldn't have asked, Beau said, his voice becoming tense and the volume raising. I took a deep breath and set my sandwich down. You're right. I wanted to know how we stood, and now I know. We're still friends, Beau said. It means we aren't going anywhere, I said, wiping my cheek again. It felt like Beau had dumped me, but in reality, I think I dumped myself. A tiny part of the pain found it funny, in a masochistic sort of way. We can still share an apartment, right? We can still be friends, right? You and me, just like always. Except we're more than friends, but we're just friends, Beau said. I wasn't sure if I could share an apartment with Beau, or a half a relationship, or even a friendship. He gave me the answer I kind of expected, but it hurt more than I thought it would. Suddenly, I wasn't hungry. I need some time, I said, leaving my sandwich and fries on the bench. All the plans I had made for the day evaporated, and my mind became blank. Only pain filled the void inside me. Wade, I know it wasn't the answer you wanted, but we're still okay, right? Beau asked. I kind of non-committally nodded and said, I'll call you later. Beau reached over and grabbed my hand, pulling me back to the bench. Wade, can you at least sit down and finish your sandwich? We'll talk about other things, like movies or cars, whatever you like. Pull out your phone and let's go apartment hunting. Just talk to me, Beau said. I picked up my sandwich and almost took a bite. Sorry, I guess I was hoping we could be something more. We'll never be, will we? Two friends who are more than friends. I want a relationship. I want someone I can love and who can love me. Let's go ahead and find an apartment, because it will let me date without having to worry about my family getting weird. Date? Beau said, his left eyebrow raising a little. We'll always be friends. Best friends even, I said, and pulled out my phone. The rest of the day, we visited a couple of apartment complexes, discovered we needed more money than we thought, and finally found a ground floor 2-bedroom not too far from Jones. The best part? It was available in 2 weeks, at the beginning of next month. A quick trip to the bank to grab some cash, and we paid the deposit. Beau had the strangest look on his face. It's really happening. I'm moving out, Beau said. When I got home, my family was thrilled when I told them. Sunday, when my family was gone, I found a bunch of boxes and started sorting and packing. There was no way I was taking my childhood crap with me. We'd need a U-Haul for the bed, the desk, and my folks were giving me the old couch and lounge chair. I had filled a couple of garbage bags and set the filled boxes by the door when the doorbell rang. I opened it to find Beau carrying a sack that said Jones Sandwiches on the side in big red letters. It was kind of a bittersweet feeling when I saw him. I loved Beau more than he loved me. Our friendship would never be more than that. "Need some help?" he said, glancing at me, then glancing to the floor. "Sure," I said, letting my best friend inside. "Can you believe this? We're actually getting our own apartment. What did your parents say?" Dad looked up from the TV and grunted at my mom. "You still got that thing sitting in your drawer? Somebody should use it. Might as well be our son," Beau said, setting the sack of food on the table. "What thing?" I asked. "You won't believe this. Mom started crying and ran into her bedroom. When she returned, she handed me this, hugged me, and said, 'Love is like a flower. You have to take care of it or it wilts. Promise me. Be just like your dad with me. Tell Wade you love him every day.' And I said, 'Dad does?' And Dad said, 'Every night, when it counts.' Your dad is a romantic after all. Now you've got me curious. What did your mom give you?" I asked. Beau stared at his shoes a second before looking at me. His mouth fidgeted into a nervous smile. "That got me thinking about what you said yesterday. About our own apartment. About us. I suddenly realized how important to me you were. The answer is yes. I do love you." Beau took to one knee, held out his hand, and in it was an old gold ring. He slid it on my finger. It was my grandfather's. "Do you have any plans for next summer?" "I'm thinking around June." We were making out on the living room floor when my parents came home. Thank you for joining me today. Peace.